Hello, you're in the right place if you're a badass at what you do, have a killer new business idea, and have really tried everything to figure out how to make a proactive pivot, but still aren't sure whether to take the leap. Hi, I'm Chandra Lynn, and I'm here to tell you about the crucial steps for how to leverage your strengths and gain the confidence, commitment, and courage absolutely necessary to achieve new levels of career success while on your own personal career mission. Today, you'll learn about the proven route to rise strategy that stressed out corporate execs already use to rescue themselves from descending into career quicksand and rise up as a successful, freedom-loving entrepreneur. Here's what you'll need to know. The Look Before You Leap Index to automatically diagnose whether you'll sink or swim as an entrepreneur running your own business. The 4 career insurance cornerstones that you must have in place before quitting your current job. And exactly how to get potential business partners and customers to beta test your new business model before you risk a thing. You'll also learn the career transformation mindset hacks that will retrain your brain so that you can move towards freedom and live work balance without sabotaging your progress with limiting beliefs and fears. So what are some of these limiting beliefs and fears? Well, it could be imposter syndrome, which is about not being good enough and maybe being found out that you're not necessarily as good as other people have been doing it longer. Or maybe it's the Cinderella syndrome of having to do all the dirty work yourself and feeling alone in what you're doing. Or it could be the bag person syndrome, which is worrying about losing everything and living on the street. You'll also learn how you can leverage this shift that's going on today away from big companies and big organizations towards becoming solo entrepreneurs. Being a sole practitioner is something that is a little bit scary, so this will teach you how to do it without making dangerous or expensive mistakes. So who is this for? This training is really for corporate execs who are suffering at work, bored or stressed out, feeling unappreciated or underutilized or overworked in a job that's lost meaning. Maybe you started out really passionate about what you're doing, and now not so much. Well, or you've have nowhere to grow in the company. Maybe you've gone as far as you can go without taking over your boss's job. You're topped out, or you've hit a plateau, and you have an urge to do something different. Maybe even a dream of starting your own business to have more freedom and live work balance, but still have fears that are holding you back from making that pivot. You may not feel like you belong or fit in your company culture, or you might know that you've always had an entrepreneurial mindset. And, having an entrepreneurial mindset isn't really easy, but it can be very meaningful. So if you're somebody that's been thinking about their own company, maybe already has a great idea, this is a training that can be great for you. So my promise to you is today you're going to learn what's necessary to successfully pivot from a soul-crushing job into a meaningful and profitable career you love with Route to Rise, the career pivot program. So do you feel like there's an invisible barrier in your life? Does staying in your corporate job attracting everything you don't want? Are you feeling stressed, out of balance, disengaged, lacking enthusiasm, dreading work, or uncertain about your future? These are all symptoms of your real problem. The problem you think you have may not be the problem you have, though. You need the right path, Not another corporate gig, not another training or certification, not another company or boss that may be better. Once you implement this system, you'll be able to have the freedom to set your own schedule and live life on your terms. You'll be able to have the financial security to provide yourself and your loved ones the lifestyle that you and they have always dreamed of. You'll be able to make a difference in ways that are important to you. The system is really just 3 steps to get out of corporate hell and into your own business. So here's the deal. I myself have been in a corporate job that I was just finding myself get more and more miserable from. I worked in marketing and I was at a publicly traded tech company, and I left to have my own business after having a child. I really needed the freedom and to make more money and just not to play the corporate game anymore. And so I started my own agency. Then after doing my agency for literally 19 years, I decided that I was ready to expand, and I got a coaching certificate and I created my own brand, which is called Glow Living. And I discovered this system that I'm sharing with you when I became a single mom. I had 2 service-based businesses and I felt overwhelmed with no time to breathe. Despite spending so much time working, I didn't feel like I had enough money to get off the hamster wheel. So I developed Root to Rise Career Pivot Program. And not only did it work for me, but it also has worked for clients, which I'll share with you later in the webinar. So here's the thing. Before we get into the system, there's myths that may be holding you back. So let's do some myth busters here. Myth number 1, that working harder will turn things around. I definitely certainly tried this. But you can't keep trying to please your superiors in an attempt to climb the ladder forever. And you can put in more hours to accomplish more goals, but that's just taking more time, not less, so you're working more for less money. And you can consider networking and bringing new relationships and resources to the table. But that takes so much more work without necessarily knowing what the end results are going to be, if they're going to move you to the next level. So myth number 2 is that if you give it more time and things will just get better on their own. So you can wait it out and expect some kind of change in the future. But that's a real passive approach. Or you can come in with a better attitude and hope things will work for themselves out. And, that kind of thing is tough because it's hard to keep a smile on your face when things are legitimately going on over long periods of time that need to be worked out and maybe are out of your control. You can avoid leaving the company to stay safe and not having to risk anything. And this is, again, a very passive approach. You just keep working harder and not smarter. So the challenge here is what happens if you take on this for, over time. If you think about just staying where you are in a year from now, just nothing really major changes, but you decide, hey, I'm going to stick this out. What happens in a year from now? And what happens in your life 3 years from now with nothing changing except for probably growing stress and frustration? What does that look like for your life and for the people around you who love you and care about what you're experiencing? What happens in 5 years from now when you're in the same stuck place? You can see why this myth of giving it more time and hoping things get better just doesn't really work. Myth number 3 is that maybe you're too overwhelmed to add the stress of a major life transition. Maybe there's other things going on in your life that are already causing stress, and a job change is definitely a major stressful endeavor, especially starting your own company. You can get more organized and try to delegate more effectively. You can rely on other people to help support you financially, or you could just go on vacation and take a break before going back to the same situation and just, getting that space that you need to reduce the stress for at least a temporary period of time. So the challenge is that you may be overwhelmed now, but as the stress mounts up by staying in this job, it's actually going to create more overwhelm and send you further and further out of balance. Okay, and lastly, myth 4, which maybe I'm not sure enough about myself to ensure the success of a new business. I'm not good enough. So that's kind of around the similar lines as what we talked about before about the imposter syndrome. And, you could get more training and another certification and always have this next level to achieve before you're ready. Can you see how that might keep you stuck? Well, let's just keep efforting towards a potential future that might happen someday. Or you can partner with other people to feel safer than doing it alone. I can tell you and will tell you a story about somebody who jumped ship and got involved with other people thinking that it was going to be a safer road and found even more challenges in their career and how you can avoid that. And lastly, you could leave your current job to work for someone else. It's not your dream, but maybe if you align with somebody else's vision that you can buy into it for a while. But if you have your own hopes and dreams, most likely you're only going to be satisfied with this option for a very short period of time before your call to become an entrepreneur and live out your ideas and your vision are going to start to surface and cause more frustration. So here's the 3 simple steps to getting out of corporate hell and into your own business. Number 1, realize that you are the only one holding you back. I think it's tough because we can all point to lots of things in our environment and that other people are doing that are keeping us down, but ultimately it is our decision to be the architects of our own life. And so we ultimately are responsible for whether we hold ourselves back or whether we step on the gas. So why? Well, one reason is that to be a successful entrepreneur, people have to be in their own driver's seat. Relying on others to make decisions won't get them where they want to go. With decision making, calling the shots, it's kind of always ends up coming back to you. And no one is better at knowing what's right. When people allow themselves to be authentic and go for what they want, then success is attracted. And reason number 3, everyone has limiting beliefs about what they're capable of, and how much it holds them back is up to them. So if they have imposter syndrome, Cinderella syndrome, person syndrome, it's really about this inside job that we have to do to break out of these limiting beliefs and these fears in order to rise up to be the entrepreneur that takes control of our lives. So here's the problem that most people have. They lack the self-confidence and fear that they'll fail or not be able to meet the demands if they succeed. So self-confidence is the number 1 must-have in an entrepreneur. Skills and trainings and certifications, external resources, relationships are all things that you can get. But if you don't have self-confidence, it's back to that inside job. So here's what most people do wrong. They imitate others when it's not authentic to who they truly are or the direction they want to go. Now, imitating others can be good when you're first starting out and you're trying to figure out what you want to do and maybe try it somebody else's way for a little while because it's working for them. But ultimately, stepping into your authenticity and your personal power is what's going to work for you. They also avoid facing their fears by not making a decision. So what does that mean? It means they're stuck where they are. And year after year, it escalates and gets worse, and the frustration grows and the stress grows. They don't seek validation before jumping into something new. So validating a new direction can provide certainty and security, which are basic needs that we all have. So if you go through a process of validating your new direction, it can provide that and it can help you feel more confident. They also may, have a problem with committing to something they should do and not what's a true fit. So this can often stem from how we're raised, our value systems, and what jobs our parents might endorse and think we should be pursuing, and maybe not what's true to us in terms of our fit with either the company or the direction or the job role or what we're working on, what mission we're aligned to, and so forth. And lastly, people can also go wrong with continuously seeking more training before starting. Now, I'm all about building skills and resources. I myself have an MBA. I have a coaching certificate. I have lots of other trainings that I've done to get to where I am today. But I also have not let that hold me back from continuing to move forward with launching businesses, with launching my ideas and aligning to them. And I think that the key thing here is to seek the necessary training, but not more than necessary. So I'd like to tell you about one of my clients, Erica's success story. So Erica had a job where she had a lot of demanding clients that were assigned to her by her company. And the thing is about them is that they were very unreasonable at times. There was a couple clients in particular that she needed to go to her boss to get support from and found that her boss was just never backing her up. And so where she needed to draw healthy boundaries and things with those clients, she was not being supported. So it was really a challenge for her, and she decided that, she can't just work with anybody, that she really needed to be in a position of being able to choose her clients and not be forced to work with ones that don't respect her and her boundaries. So the problem was that she was scared to let go of the steady paycheck of the job that she was in until we started to talk about those fears and break through those limiting beliefs. And after the coaching, she was able to successfully pivot to her own consulting business. And that allowed her to attract a lot of awesome clients in lots of different industries that she enjoyed, but also have the ability, the power, the empowerment, the self-empowerment, I should say, to create healthy boundaries with those clients and set hours that allowed her to juggle her family life and some of the other activities that she needed to do for personal self-care. So back to our steps here. Number 2, realize that time is not on your side. I know that sounds harsh, but the thing is that the longer a person waits to start their dream, the longer it takes to get to the point of having the joy and fulfillment that they expect it to deliver. So also, it becomes harder to make a pivot to something new because of all that's been invested in the other path. There's just more to give up. And finally, financially, the horizon to invest in retirement becomes shorter and more difficult to accumulate wealth as we get older. So we really just don't have time to linger in a frustrating, unsatisfying job that has limited growth when we're getting to an age where we really have to be planning for our future and have a narrow horizon to make it happen at the lifestyle that we want to experience and that we've worked so hard to achieve. So the problem most people have is that they put off this career pivot so long that it becomes harder to give up what they invested in with the old career path. There's just so much value attached to it and so much fear attached to the new way of doing things that people put it off instead of facing those fears and figuring out how to validate their new business ideas. So more things that people are doing wrong is investing time, money, and energy in a path that has a short-term gain, not knowing what it's going to do for them in the long term. So if you're not really going to stay at this corporate job long term, why put so much into this short-term opportunity? They also avoid difficult decisions in hopes that things will work themselves out without having to effort. So here's the thing. No pain, no gain, right? So sometimes we do have to put effort in, and avoiding those difficult decisions, walking through that fire, taking those leaps is just going to keep them stuck. And so having, the courage, but also the validation towards what you're moving towards can really help you get out of an avoidance pattern and into a pattern of taking action. People also act as though they have all the time in the world to make a change someday in the future. And the thing is, like I mentioned in the previous slide about the horizon that we have to live the life of our dreams, it's just getting shorter every minute of every day. So we don't have all the time in the world. We probably did, when we were in our 20s exploring new jobs. But as we get older, there's just less time. And I know you can relate to that. So let me tell you about Colleen's success story. She worked at an airline for over 20 years and unaffectionately called it going to the plantation. I mean, it literally got that bad. She did not want to go to work ever. She was tardy at work a lot, which in the airline industry is, can have some negative consequences for your employee records and advancement. And she was there so long that she worried that she wouldn't be qualified for anything else. 20 years at an airline, and if you don't want to just go to another airline, what do you do? So after we sat down and really looked at, her situation, it was pretty clear that her skills at the airlines were transferable and actually sought after because she had a lot of experience with customer service and even working in, the lounges and pretty high-end customer service and dealing with big conflict resolution issues. So it wasn't too late to make a pivot for her. And now she works in real estate where she's able to offer amazing customer service. And this is really where her personal passion lies and where there's a lot more opportunity for her to build wealth and have the kind of lifestyle that she wanted to, get out from working in a plantation and being her own boss. So our third step is to realize that depending on others isn't always the safe route. Sometimes we, get into a situation where we feel like we need people for support and resources. So we might need that company, the company structure, they have the human resources, the budget to work with. And if you're going out on your own, it's hard to go, well, how do I have all those things for myself? And it's really about building those things. You're not going to have all that stuff from the start. But if you're resourceful, then, you'll see that it can be done. So not all people see things the same way, so it's hard to stay in the driver's seat when you're at a company where there's other people on board that want to go different directions. And then it becomes about power and negotiating things out, and it just becomes much more difficult. So reason 2 is that it can be more difficult to make decisions with other people and have to mutually agree on everything. So that can include the direction that you're going, the roles and responsibilities, what your responsibilities are. You may or may not want what they're asking you to do over time. It could have changed from when you first started. You might not agree with the process, that they have in place that impacts you with getting things for how to get things done or the goals that you're expected to achieve. And so, it can be very difficult to make decisions when you're in that kind of environment. It could hold you back from really doing it your way. And the third reason is people can let each other down. So businesses can fail when partners don't meet expectations, invest and provide enough support or resources. So partners or bosses, whoever is in charge, if you don't have the the buy-in, or the other people aren't coming to the table with their portions of what they're expected to do, then it can let you down. So despite the positive demand for products and services, that might be happening from the outside world, the internal structure may not be able to support it. So that's one dynamic that can happen. So another problem that most people have is that they partner with others to feel secure and not believe in going solo. So in themselves, they have to believe in themselves in order to go solo. So this is, for people who are thinking, yes, it's definitely time to leave the corporate job, but I don't want to go it alone, or I'm not ready, or I don't believe in myself enough, so I'm going to find people to partner with. And what people do wrong is that they, imitate other people, they avoid the fears by not making a decision, and they don't seek validation before making the jump to something new. So let me tell you about Steve's success story. Now, Steve was at a major corporate job. He feared going out on his own because, starting his business on his own seemed very daunting for the lofty business ideas that he had. And he found 3 other people that he partnered with to go out in a way that made him feel more comfortable and more supported. The problem was that it didn't work because they ended up having different goals and expectations regarding his contribution, which didn't fit his own ideas. So there was a lot of unspoken things about it. I mean, there are definitely ways of doing successful partnerships, but the more partners that you have, the more expectations need to be ironed out and adjusted over time. And in this case, he had 3 other partners. So it became more and more challenging over time. And so he actually ended up feeling like he jumped into it too soon. And he ended up having to leave that partnership after only 3 months. And what he did was he just said, I'm going to go ahead and create my own consulting practice, go it alone, and I'm going to make it aligned to my unique skill set and allow me to move faster and move forward without the group decision making. And as a result, he started aligning with a lot of clients who just loved what he had to offer and his background. And so, the last time I checked, he had a full roster and was starting to subcontract a lot of the work out to other people because it was beyond his own capabilities, which he knew was going to happen from the beginning. But instead of relying on equal partners that he had to share all the decision making with, he just subcontracted it out and stayed the boss. So let's recap. So how to pivot into your next career move without looking back, you need to realize that you're the only one holding you back, and that time is not on your side, and that depending on others isn't always a safe route. And it's about believing in yourself and structuring it so that you can win on your own. Now, here's the cost of not fixing this, of not answering the call that you're getting to become your own boss, to become an entrepreneur. This, in no uncertain terms, leads to depression and anxiety from wasting time on something that lacks meaning and purpose. Missing out on quality time and making memories with loved ones. You cannot get that time back. Never being able to afford the lifestyle you want because the corporate glass ceiling is there and you can only make what you make in your pay grade. So there's pay grade limitations. So you're never going to make more money than you do now, or maybe, incrementally more, but being in that same job. We always want more, and you'll never really attain the dream of the life that you want while you're stuck under that glass ceiling. The other costs are feeling stressed, getting fat, having psychological problems, medical problems, relationship problems. Really, you'll see in a minute how these kind of things can lead to deteriorating your quality of life to the point of, in some cases, feeling suicidal or losing people you love around you because you're, focused on something that's making you so unhappy or taking all of your time. And lastly, another cost is just feeling deeply ashamed of yourself inside because you're not contributing and growing to the level you're capable of, that you know what you're capable of, and not doing it causes pain. So here's the good news, is you don't have to stay where you are. Not having the freedom to set your own schedule and live life on your own terms, not have the financial security to provide for yourself and your loved ones, not make a difference in ways that are important to you. So I want to help you fix this. And in order to get to the next level, you've got to invest in it. So you have two options to becoming your own boss with unlimited wealth and recognition while being on your personal and meaningful career mission. The first one is figuring it out all on your own and potentially wasting a fortune in time and money. Now, I have invested a lot of money in launching my businesses and realizing that they're just not generating the level of success that I had hoped, and I've had to invest further and step into it instead of away from it in order to get unstuck. And in that sense, I've had to rely on other people, other coaches to help leverage me out of it in order to learn what I needed to learn to get to the next level. The second thing is getting help from someone who's paid the price before you and who can fast track you. Because the environment always wins. Not sure if you could relate to these photos, but I picked them because I sure can. I was there. Job pressure is the number one cause of stress. This comes from the American Psychological Association. Job pressure, coworker tension, bad bosses, work overload. This is the number one cause of stress in the U.S., just undeniable. Work stress could cause divorce. So here's an article from the Chicago Tribune about how it can hurt a marriage. Working long hours leads to obesity. This is an article that, it was actually a study that showed how long hours were contributing to being overweight and obese in working adults. Work is the leading cause of stress by the American Institute of Stress. They're studying this. They're seeing it's leading to heart attacks, hypertension, obesity, divorce. I don't think I have to go on, but let's just see here that job stress could kill you. That's really the bottom line. U.S. News and World Report here, how job stress might be killing you and what you could do about it. I mean, stress in America is huge. There's a survey that was done that points to the hazards to your health that stress can cause. And lastly, stress at work increases psychosocial risk. So the psychological aspects of stress at work can really get to you, and it can make you feel really off base and not have the clarity that you need on what to do to get out of it. And that can feel very like you're stuck and lead to depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, and everything else. I don't know what you've experienced, but it's very real for a lot of people, including people that have had experience with layoffs, like with this IBM example. They fired 100,000 employees that were, I think they were over the age of 40 to make way for millennials. This has been huge in the news. I recommend you Google it. But if you've had layoffs or are worried about possibly being laid off and thinking maybe now's the time to make a jump to an entrepreneurial path, this could prevent a lot of pain. So how can I help? I mean, I've set aside some time where I can speak to you specifically and personally about how to apply my Root to Rise system directly to your life, and it's completely free. So, I'd really like to invite you to do this. I mean, why am I doing this? I know the pain of feeling stuck in corporate America, and I also know the liberation of breaking free. I started my agency in 2000. I got my coaching certificate in 2011. I have been entrepreneurial on and off my whole life, and for the last 13 years, I've completely committed to being on my own and being successful, and I would love to see you do the same. If that's in your heart, if you truly believe that you can succeed on your own with some help, then I want to be able to talk to you about that and give you that clarity that you need to embrace this call as a true entrepreneur. So call me and let's discuss how you can reduce the risk that you may be perceiving is on the table by leaving, this corporate job, and get started on creating unlimited wealth for yourself. It's not unlimited when you're at a corporation. They're never going to pay you, everything that you could make with, the the leveraging the resources like, the internet to find leads and the global environment that we're in. And so I want you to be able to explore the kind of wealth that's really realistic for you, and also the recognition that comes from being on a meaningful career mission. I mean, the thing is that, it starts from within and feeling pride in yourself for, the significance that comes from doing something meaningful and that's true to you. And then you'll see that there's rewards in terms of the outside world and how they perceive you and what you're contributing. So if we work together, you'll get the clarity about what you want in your next career and connect it to your authentic nature. You'll create a career mission without the level of doubt that comes from pivoting on your own. And if we work together, you'll learn how to squash those limiting beliefs without letting them further delay your pivot. And lastly, we'll help you validate your new business idea without having the discomfort of potentially risking everything. So here's the thing. What I want you to do is I want you to consider going to this URL, glowliving.com/apply, and filling out a short form there that gives me a little bit of insight into your world, and it'll send you to a place to schedule a one-on-one free call with me to discuss if Root to Rise is the right opportunity for you and how it can help you gain the clarity over all these things, how we can set you free on your path to being a successful entrepreneur, creating the lifestyle that you would love. I mean, I personally love to travel. I like to explore new cultures. I like to explore new foods. I like to get out there and meet new people. This is the kind of lifestyle that I love about being an entrepreneur. And, I'm just, because of my age, I don't want to live, out of a backpack and doing it. I want to travel with style. I want to bring my loved ones. I want to help people. I want to be able to give back. And with money and resources, I can do that as an entrepreneur. And in a way that I really never did in corporate. Corporate, I was literally on that grind, on that treadmill, climbing that ladder, all those metaphors that you've heard over and over. And, if you're stuck on that, or you're just really, feeling like it's time to get out, or you just have this burning idea of a business idea that'll take you to the next level or be more meaningful for you, I want you to go to glowliving.com/apply and schedule a time to meet with me, because I want to talk to you about how to help you get to the next level and, achieve these dreams. People are doing it, and why not you? I'm going to leave you with that. Why not you? So glowliving.com/apply is where you can find that online application. And then we can talk about what the next steps are when we get on the phone together. And I just so look forward to talking with you personally and getting off this online, and onto the offline, and really talking heart to heart and face to face. So let me know when you're available. Go to glowliving.com/apply, and I will talk to you and see you very, very soon. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I look forward to getting to know you, and I wish you the very best success in building a life that you love, a career that you love. And that's what I'm here to do, to help you with. So have a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking with you very soon.